Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to start a series for the next couple of weeks before the Academy Awards, just something for fun, sort of the earrings from the Oscars or what the stars would be wearing. The first pair of earrings I have are just basically crystal and some cubic zirconias on the bottom. These are about 3.5 inches. They're quite long. I always make them a lot shorter so you wouldn't have to have as many beads in the center as I do have here. Also made these post earrings as well. But again, these are something that you don't have to make. If you just wanted to just do the dangle part and then just put some French hooks or some post findings on something like that that are pre-made, you could easily do that rather than do the crystals. But I think it sort of finishes off the earrings really nicely. There's lots of variations in this theme, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a post finding with a crystal just so it's a little bit more glittery. So all you need to do is, this is an 8mm bead I'm working with. So just going to take my pliers and I'm going to go in about, you can measure this, but go in about a little bit less than 1/2 inch because that's going to be your ear post. That's how far you want to go. So you're just going to do a 90-degree bend, and I've done a full video on how to make these types of earrings. So you can look at that if you like. I'm just going to continue doing the same thing. So now that I've done that, I'm just going to go working on the end. So I'll be working like this and then start to make a swirl. Now you want to try and make the swirl as tight as you can. So just kind of start to, and you can adjust it as you go if you need to. That's perfectly fine. But that's sort of what I'm doing. And you want to keep that post right in the center of the swirl. So just, you can easily adjust it, or you can take your pliers and you can just give it a little squeeze just to make it a little bit tighter and keep that swirl like that. You can use your chain nose pliers just to flatten out the swirl. So it's something like that. And you're going to continue to wrap around. Now what you can do is you can hold your pliers. Now if you are worried that your pliers will mark your wire, you could use nylon pliers like these, although I prefer these. I don't find I can get a good grip with these. Or you can also tape your pliers, or you could just be very gentle. So then just start to continue to coil. I'm holding onto the swirl and I'm continuing to just wrap it around. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to make it so it's big enough to hold my earring. I want it to be sort of the same size as my crystal. It's almost there. So when it's about the size of the same size as the crystal, because what you want to do is you want to be able to cup that crystal. You're kind of making like a cup for the crystal. I'm using a 20 gauge wire, probably about 1/2 foot to 3/4 foot. Now that that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the coils a little bit, like that, just spreading them out a little bit. And you can use but just be careful that you're not going to pull your swirls apart. You don't want to do that. So now that it's sort of more of a cup, then I'm just going to slide my bead on right in the center, and then just slide it right into the center of that cup I've made, like that. Just bend it over if you need to. So that's what I would have. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to take that wire and I'm going to just continue to swirl around that bead. So then I'm going to make I'm just going to make it more of a cup around it. Now you can do this as much as you like. It really is according to you. But what I'm doing as I go along is I'm just filling in the space, any spaces that are separated. So you want to make it look like it's all one piece. So you can just go between the coils that you've already done, between the wires that you've already wrapped, and then just go as many times as you like again. So just bring it right around. And I usually I try not to wrap above where the wire is going through the bead. And then when you get to the part where you want to have the bottom of your earring, so if you look at the post, I would like this to be the bottom of my earring. So in other words, all my dangles are going to come down from there. So when I get down to there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring the wire down, and then whatever I have left over, now make sure it's centered in the middle of your earring so that it's like right in the middle of the bead. So just bring it right to the center like that, and then you can just use your chain nose pliers if you want, just to help you to get it right to the center. You want your dangles to hang it perfectly. So then at this point you're just going to just take your round nose pliers and then just make a loop. Now you can do a closed loop or you can just do an open loop, and I'm just going to do an open loop. So basically something like this. So you have your post, and then just go in and just trim that excess tail. So you're going to have an open loop. You can attach your dangles to. So now you have like a pair of post earrings ready to go that you can add something to. I've done a lot of brie lay wraps before. This is going to be exactly the same. So if you need extra help, I'll have a link for some videos on how to do brie lay wraps. So I'm starting off with a 24 gauge wire. You can use whatever kind of a wire you want to use that will best fit your bead. This is a 15 by 5 bead, a cubic zirconia. So I'm just going to go right through the bead and then just bring my wire through, and it's about 1.5 feet of wire. It's better to have a little bit extra so you don't run out. So then what I've done is I brought the other side of the wire up and then brought the two together. Then at that point I'm just going to make a loop. So just 90-degree angle right around my pliers like that. And then I have a loop, and then I'm just going to start to close that loop. So what I'm going to do is start to wrap down those two wires, grabbing those two wires and bringing them together. So like that. So if you've already made a pair of earrings, what you might want to do is look at how tall your brie wrap was for one, so you want to match the two so that they're going to hang exactly right. And this looks about the same. So now I'm just wrapping all the way down. Now, some people like to just do a wrap to the top of the brie. I like to wrap down on the cap of the brie a little bit. So I'm just going to continue to wrap right down over the cap of the brie. And then go down as far as I want. And then once I've wrapped as much as I want, I'm just going to take that wire right across my brie and then just bring it right to the top and just wrap a few times and then trim it back, and then you would have your brie ready. And that's what you would have. So the next thing you're going to do, now I have 3 graduated beads. I have a 10 millimeter, a 6 millimeter, and a 4 millimeter. Now you could have all the same length. You could have all the same size beads of any sort if you want. If you wanted to not do graduated, you don't have to. You could do whatever you prefer. But that's what I like to do. So I'm just going to start to do just some wrap loops, and it's just going to be a standard wrap loop. Now this wrap loop is going to attach to this brie. So I'm just going to attach an open loop like that to the brie, close it up. So once that is a closed loop, then you're just going to add, I'm adding my smallest bead on first. So I'm adding my 4 millimeter. And then what I'm going to do now is just do the exact same thing, just do another loop on the other side. So just a 90-degree angle at the top of the bead, and then right around the pliers. And try and keep your loops consistent, because that way your earrings will be the same length. And just do a couple wraps, as many as you like, and then trim it back. Check any wires that are out, and then that's what you would have so far. And then you're just going to do the exact same thing, just an open loop. They're a very, very simple pair of earrings, but they look quite nice once they're all done. So just put that next loop on. Once that's done, you're just going to close it up just like you did before. Put it out with about 1 foot of wire. So it's about 1 foot to 3/4 of a foot that you'll need to do the just the wraps. Add your next bead on, and that's the next biggest bead. And then just do another wrap loop. You could do this with colors if you prefer, multicolors, anything you want. I just like the whole crystal look because I think when all the movie stars are wearing earrings, or a lot of them are wearing just like crystal earrings. So just trim that back. I basically just closed the loop and trimmed it back, same thing. Now I'm going to put the final one on, so I'm just going to do another wrap loop. Slide that open loop onto the wrap I just did. Close it up. And then just add your last bead on. So just another wrap loop. Close it up and trim it back. So all you need to do now is just make sure everything's exactly the way you like it. If any of the loops are crooked, you want to straighten them out. Make sure that the way you're going to hang it on your loop, it's that the briolet is going to face forward, so that you want to see the full briolet. You don't want to see the side of it. So that would be right. And then now I'm just going to take this loop that I've left open on my ear post, and then just slide on my earring. So if you notice, one loop is sideways and one loop is flat, and that's the way you have to hang it so it all hangs nicely. And then just close that loop up. So then you would have your completed earring. The last thing you're going to do is you're going to finish this ear wire. So I have a wire rounding tool, and what you do with that is you just put it on and start to smooth out the end. The other option would be to use a jewelry file and just kind of go back and forth and make sure it's smooth and not going to poke you. You can just put an ear post on it. You can use it if you don't have a butterfly post. You could steal one from another pair of earrings, but if you don't have that, you can always get the silicone ones. Bead supply stores will sell the silicone ones. The only other thing that you might want to do is after you've finished your earrings, you want to make sure that the ear posts are the same length. So this ear post is a little bit longer, so I would probably trim that back. And if I do end up trimming it back, any of my ear posts, I'm going to have to finish the end again. So that's something to keep in mind. So then the earrings would be ready to go. So this concludes the tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.